an animal with noise. It roots around the almond tree for grubs, a whistle and a scuffling of shoes. You're drunk again and high on handshake drugs. You're not the you spoke of in those lines. You're floodlights on a game of basketball. You're clover in a hayrake's rusty tines. A fury in an endless caterwaul. I mistook every shadow for a skunk. You scrawled your lines on someone else's page. I wandered the vicissitudes of punk and found something pathetic in that rage. I parked my car beneath a blue carport, the dealer's place at Edwards Trailer Court. So we're going to get my buddy Terry Gibson from South Dearborn Heights up here to kick it off. And Terry, is this the first time you ever read poetry in public?
Since probably 8th grade.
All right. Please welcome Terry Gibson, everybody.
Well, thanks, John, and thank you to all of you.
Get on that mic there, Terry.
I have a poem about my grandfather that I wrote actually for a Facebook post a few years ago. But when John told me about this, I figured a way to get it printed, as technologically challenged as I am. And I got to tell you a little bit about my grandfather. He was born in 1881, and I was born in 1956, so he was already 75 years old by the time I was born. And by the time I started actually paying attention and realizing what a knowledgeable person he was, it was almost too late. I got a couple of years. But just one little just tidbit. When I was probably 15, I was sitting with him and like wondering and marveling. I said, Grandpa, you know, you were there to see the transition from the horseless carriage, or from the horse and buggy days to the horse and carriage. I said, oh, that was a long time ago. And he just kind of stroked his chin and said, no, Terry, it wasn't that long ago, just about 1910. But you know, he was 30 years old in the prime of his life at that time. So he was a musician. He played accordion and like the percussion where people play the spoons, or the bones as they would call them. I actually have his sticks of ivory to, you know, play that with. And I remember I brought that out for show and tell one time and just got ridiculed, you know, all the teenagers, and you know, well, Gibby's playing with his bones again. yeah. So, but yeah, I just called them peasants and moved on. But anyway, this is my story about my grandfather. His name was Michael Lynch, by the way. He put the lynch in Lynch's lair, called Teresa the Raven for her jet black hair, taught me to stand up tall and proud. Don't mumble my words, speak out clear and loud. Walk into a room like you own the place. Say your prayers at night, for we live by God's grace. Give a good firm handshake, look a man in the eye. Walk your sweetheart to the door when you kiss her goodnight. Now many's the night when we sat at his knee, when he grabbed his accordion while we listened with glee. He'd happily play us some fine Irish tune, Tura Lura Lura or Claire de Lune. He'd hand us out gumdrops like nuggets of gold, and regale us with tales of the hunters bold. Then as he grew older, and as I grew up, I'd hang on each word, drinking knowledge straight from the cup. We'd listen to Ernie on his old radio. Man, those are some memories I'll never let go. I'd sit and I'd gaze at his old weathered face, a road map that had led him to many a place, the life that he'd led, the places he'd been, remembering the things that had happened to him way back when. I'd look into what were still to me two good eyes and drink up his words under his steely guise. a treasure trove sitting there right next to me and my insatiable thirst for history. And then he was gone. No more words would I hear of growing up and the things he held dear. I was just 17 when I learned that he'd passed, but the wisdom he gave to me would forever last. Now all these years later, I'm a grandfather too, and I've written these words to share with you. I hope you've enjoyed them and the prose soon to follow. The words will ring true, not just witty or hollow. Over years I have listened to the words that he said and tried to emulate the life that he led. I've rambled enough now, but I wanted you to see Grandpa wasn't the only poet in this family.
Thank you.
Oh, I got you, Steve.
Oh, thanks, man.
Thanks, John. That was quite an introduction. There you go.
Oh, thank you.
Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna say something, and then I'm gonna read one poem, and then I'm gonna say something else. And what I'm gonna say is this: I have made 10 books of my poems. Each one contains 20 poems. There's exactly 10. There will never be 11 because I don't want to do this again. They're 5 cents a piece. So at the end of this, after I'm done reading my ridiculous poem, I'll tell you the second thing. And this is my poem, which was fun. Okay. Close the window. I was closing the window. Where have you been? Closing the window. Do you close windows? The only thing to do is to close most of the windows. Close them tight. He must be very hard up to close the window so. You were working on closing 7 windows. I convinced you to reduce that to 5. I have not worked in months. What were you working on? Closing a window, opening the window, and closing it again. I was looking out the window after I had opened it. I used to look out of the window when it was open. If I close the window next month, will that suit you? I was looking out the window after I had opened it. I looked for 2 hours. I looked out the open window for at least 2 hours. I saw a star. I saw a star out the open window. There was a star that I saw from the open window. I could have been mistaken. There's no way I was mistaken. What was that star doing outside that open window? Twinkling? No. I might not have seen that star last night had it not been for that open window. Look out that window and see the grand, important marvel of our perfect joy. So this book I'm selling for 5 cents. I didn't actually intend to make it, but I'm a painter, I'm not a writer. Perhaps you can tell. So in my painting process, I do a lot of exercises to gain skills. And so I like to write, so why would I stop? And also I get better over time, so why would I stop? In my 70s, I'll probably write something good. Maybe in my 80s. So what I did is I took what I thought were like my 20 better poems, and I sat for about 4 days, and I copied each one 10 times. And what happened is exactly what I expected to happen. The process of doing this revealed to me all the weaknesses and all the strengths and all the weirdnesses, and some of the poems I thought were weak turned out to be stronger, some vice versa. It was an excellent exercise to just take a poem, see, I haven't said painting, to take a poem and just copy it again and again and again and again. And this is why I don't have that many friends. But anyway, after this is all over, like I said, they're for sale. That's it.
And Mitch demanded that the Patrick Pierce portrait be put back over the hearth before he featured at this.
Yes.
So
And
now
so
it's
you have
there.
me to thank for that. Everybody else was thinking it, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes
Way to be a catalyst.
one has to be, initiated. But I'm going to read one poem that's not by me, but by A.R. Ammons. And we'll start with that, and then I'll do another poem that I did write that's kind of in, well, I'll say it later, but this A.R.
Sorry to be
Ammons.
rude, but I gotta ask, is it Archie Ammons?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. It's called A Crippled Angel. A crippled angel bent in a scythe of grief, mourned in an empty lot, passing by, I stopped amused that immortality should grieve, and said, it must be exquisite. Smoke came out of the angel's ears, the axles of slow hand wheels of grief, and under the white lids of its eyes bulged tears of purple light. Watching the agony diffuse in shapeless loss, I interposed a harp. The atmosphere possessed it eagerly, and the angel saying prayers for the things of time, let its fingers drop and burn, the lyric strings provoking wonder. Grief sounded like an ocean rose in bright clothes, and the fire breaking out on the limbs rising caught up the branching wings, and in a flurry of ascent, taking a bow, I shot transfixed the angel mid-air, all miracle hanging fire on the rafters of the sky. I was recently graciously invited into a cohort of poets considering Kelly's Bar in Hamtramck. And so I scratched this one off recently. It's a little, it may change slightly, but I think it kind of landed where I need it to go. But it's called Kelly's Bar on the Coldest Day of the Year. And it has features some characters you may know. I cut through an alley past St. Florian's and find a dead bird tangled in ice floes filling the ribs of a tire track. Her loose wing, soft as paper, points skyward, and her open eye is full of a heavenly ink-black element. I hear the call to prayer on distant speakers, and the land with ferocious stillness seems to win back nostalgia for its ancient contest with glaciers. Just then, young men with wings, like those in Zarakis paintings, descend night steps above Kelly's Bar. I would have thought the shadows here weren't long enough to allow safe landing for beings like these, but they make do with the blue and red vapors beaming out of the bar doors like the split in the Sacred Heart. Hoping to meet a few of them, I go for a pint. Maybe Cal Freeman will be there too and say something clever about James Joyce. Maybe Peter Marcus will tell me about the river in winter, its incognito life beneath snowdrifts and the prehistoric sturgeon sleeping there. As for the young men with wings, they've never heard of James Joyce or rivers. Immortality hangs on them like a sadness, and they trade it little by little for the things of this world, collecting tattoos, scars, disasters, growing old, taking lovers, starting bands. In this way, they may come to read the dead again and again, grow heavy enough to fall through frozen rivers and feel bone-deep cold. Forgetting the painless ice of heaven at last, they may find that there's enough here to sustain us, though we can't mint a single dime for Guinness or soup from the riches of our wanderings together in low and beautiful places like this. Thanks.
So thanks for being here, Jennifer. Come on up.
Oh, yeah, sorry, every time.
This one's kind of...
No, it's his fault. Don't apologize to him.
It's a different one, I otherwise would know. Thank you. Thanks for the belated claps, I was starting to sweat there. Okay, it's my mom's birthday this week, so what better way to honor her than like a couple of poems to slander her in public?
Yeah.
They're not that bad. Everybody has mom poems, right? My mother's anxiety makes the dog skittish, but fuels and infuses us as we report for duty jump reluctantly, build stockpiles, pay bills ridiculously early. This family runs on it. It keeps us on alert like a distant buzzsaw or a neighbor's weed whipper at sunrise. It vibrates from her bones and etches the family motto onto mine. Never hang your hat higher than you can reach on my left femur, and don't set yourself up for disappointment down the right. It binds us to this town, a thin, invisible fishing line of what ifs, our echolocation constantly pinging, home, city limits, home. Go, go, I shoo my daughters. Her whistle is pitched a bit too high for my footloose defectors. I wave them on like a noble and wronged soccer player down, playing to the crowd. I strain and I thrash, a hapless Gulliver, humoring tiny captors. No, no, I'll be okay. I've got this.
So we got Larry Larson's old mic stand, and it's kind of a pain in the ass, but I was too lazy to get mine out of my car. This is Larry's music stand, Larry's mic stand. That's the Larry Larson Memorial Stage over there. We got Stephen Brown coming up next, and it's fun to see Stephen twice in 1 week. I just saw him in Traverse City over the weekend. So welcome, Stephen Brown.
Hey everybody, how are you? This is Steve Brown from Kalamazoo. Thanks, John.
Cheers.
Couple things. All right, so I'll do 2 portraits tonight. First is titled Halfway. He has 2 new hollows in his cheeks, and he smells of fried onion, and has not had a drink in several days. If he could return to the love of having his wind knocked out for the very first time, there might be more to lose. For once, he might make plans based on who he is and was, and not on who he wishes he always had been. In his one small room with bed, table, lamp, and window, his breath is heavy, deep, echoless. His first paycheck is still 2 weeks away. But it is possible to nourish beasts without food, said some priest when he was knee-high to men, still assuming all things worked out. Now he prefers Save-A-Lot, because he can take those dumpstered loaves straight to the bank. For fun, he stashes dope in his daydreams, inside mattress frames, wedged in ducts, sunk deep in clean, soft, pale carpet next to some abandoned boy's bed. What I think happens, he says, is that one day they call you and they see you're not allowed to live anymore. And brother, do you even mind? Thanks.
And you get to a certain age, you're always ready for anything that is less than the Grim Reaper. He's not here, so I'm cool. Yeah, he's not here yet. I have 2 poems. I'm not going to take up too much of your time. Just 2 poems. And both of them are for women. Women that I love. Both of them have passed away. And the first one is my mother. My mother, Bessie Waller. And I just wrote this, like earlier today. Wrote it in my mind, and it's still in my mind, so I'm going to share it with you. Let's see. You lean over to me, and you say, "You won't know until you're old, young son, but you are an ark." Your grandmother's taught you about that, Noah and all that. But you're a deeper ark than Noah. That wasn't Noah's ark, it was an ark for animals, not him. You, young man, are an ark of memories. You're an ark of pain. You're an ark of ghosts, but you won't know it till you're old. When you're old, you'll stand in front of an audience, and you'll talk about it, and you'll know what you are. You're an ark. Forget that Noah guy. He just was a bus driver for animals on the water. Then you lean over me and you whisper in the lunchroom of Joy Junior High School. And because you're whispering, I know it's something bad. I know it's something wrong. Ray, that administrator, I'm gonna knock him out. Be ready. Be ready for what? I'm 14. I can't drive the getaway car. Again? You're gonna knock somebody out again? Shh. Be ready. You walk up to the front after people have finished shaking his hand. You raise your fists that way you had. Jab, jab with the right, jab with the right. Slip the left, left cross. He falls to the floor. Not quite out, but groggy. The police arrest you. I stand in the precinct with you and I know what's going to happen. The cops all want your phone number. My father arrives. He says, Bessie, how many more times you gonna knock me out? The police allow him to drive us home. He smiles at me. I see you didn't drive.
Oh man, one more time for all the open mic guests. I think it's time to get our first featured artist up here, J.L. Moultrie, phenomenal poet. Just had a book come out called Karen, which I ordered and really enjoyed. We read together sometime back, and we were sitting there after the reading, talking a lot about Hart Crane. I remember saying, you know, when the Pulitzers showered on some dope or screw who flushed our dry mouths out with soap, few people would consider why I took to stalking sailors and scattered Uncle Sam's phony gold-plated laurels to the birds. Because I knew my Whitman like a book, stranger in America. Tell my country I, Catullus Redivivis, once the rage of the village in Paris, used to play my role of troubadour, wolfing the stray lambs who hungered by the Place de la Concorde. My prophet was a pocket with a hole. Who asks for me, Shelley of my age, must lay his heart out for my bed and board. Please welcome J.L. Moultrie, everybody.
Hey everybody, can you hear me well?
Yes.
Good. I'm going to be reading 4 poems from, hold up, let me get this right. Feels like it's in my space. Instead of,
It's coming back.
here we go. From my book, Karen. Oh, so
It
mine
is,
up
it's sliding toward you.
Here we go.
Maybe fix that mic, J.L.
I think I got it. Hold up. Yeah, here we go. Thank you. This first poem is called Notes on Free Will. My choices made me who I am. I could have been the son of Sam. I could have been a violent man. The image of my father returning from jail hangs in my mind like a dusty painting. I want it to stay the same, but the colors keep changing. My mother and I share a thirst for self-annihilation. The image of her face kept my ceiling from becoming sanguine. I met him at the front door and wrapped my arms around his waist. I've yet to reach the age where I can be confined for my mistakes. My maternal grandmother was like the Gordian knot. She'd heat knives on the stove instead of pots. We went for ice cream in the Arab neighborhood. Their mosque recited prayers through a loudspeaker. It even reached our neck of the woods. My brother gave me a loaded revolver for safekeeping. I had not made him aware of my suicidal thinking. Dad abstained from drink and curse words. My paternal grandfather would fly into alcoholic rages whenever his temper stirred. I remain wholly capable of anything. The overwhelming proof is embedded in my genes. Thank you. Thank you. The second one is called Godspeed. Pool of ideation. Displacement took place in an age of flight. Blight in my mind like photos, ill-aligned. Grace that often left me resigned to fate. The unabated dust and insatiable light, white gaping aperture like Michigan winters. Prayed that time would stop, the left shoe's eventual drop. Nature's signals of finality. My sanity became a war casualty. Thank you. Let me see. This third one is called Boston, Michigan Winters. I believe the honesty of strangers. Hardly recognized winter upon the easel, splintered, losing my edge again. The medicine's working too well. Nothing melts in Hades. There's Judas in every man's heart. Marks along the stone wall and rapport with spirit like primitive art. Painted after the Van Gogh show, walking inward. Inferred the sequence of seasons, the beauty still remote. Speechless, all who know, teachers allayed my need for self-destruction. Boston, Michigan winters, thrust in abuse of substance, growing up. I believe the honesty of strangers. Geese flew, felt the undertow grows into collages. Inside of me are mirages, kisses lingering. Thorns taste of plums, what if we didn't meet or share a bed? You were smoking, I was involved in not talking, always bleeding. The blind are without seeing, no one can reach me. You stopped drinking. Mind, former awe, inaccessible. Cornered, all a wounded animal, a condition of non-existence. Essentially, the initial miracle is quicksand, stunned by who I'm not willing to feel. Humiliation to trust, conditions of decaying stars, hardly entered my mind, still carved inside, riverbeds. My apostasy, signs accosted me, yet storms lift. Withdrew into confession, pride aside, time inside slubs heavy crown, blurry-eyed bodies led by our fragile waking minds, making silhouettes at the moon's request. You took me to the remnants of your armor, each departure a receding tide. Thank you so much. This last one is called Bastille. I recall time being a mirror, and by degrees answers separate us from home. Who are we but stones thrown amid leaves, sieved into shape, born of tides? I was scarcely alive, yet arrived before night on this plane. A short flight, all I felt was blue. Uncontained, the clarity's overdue. Leading to upturned rivers, you searched my face for what I couldn't see, strewn from my interior, unadorned, the single experience of being, a seedling breaking waves in form, signals become lost, immersed in sand, then gone. I was impaired, barely there again, kindled life from strata and wood, each prayer a fresh layer of soot. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Kat Batsios, you ready?
Jesus Christ, I guess. Oh, that did come up quick. I was like, I'm at the end of the list. I got time. I don't got time. I don't got time. I'm going to read you two poems, which I think are interesting because they started out as haiku that became longer. And one of them is a little dire. That's fine. I think everyone... Okay, I don't care. Never mind. No, I was trying to find it. Again, I was one of those people that was like, oh, I've got time. I don't got time. Maybe that's one of the...
Demonic machine.
Yeah. Well, it's not demonic machine. It's like it's written and it's on my phone, right? We've done that. We just did this. Written, it's on my phone. This one is not going to go anywhere. This is my book. This is my poem in my book. If you want some, I have some in my car, cash only. Eggs, potatoes, toast. Yaya's restaurant work. Hash browns on porcelain. She peeled potatoes all day. I feel her hands ache. Baba is cooked egg yolks, pool, smear. You taught me to dip, soak with toast. The yolk starts open. Papu's coat was soft. You wear it after his death, but you miss the funeral. Papu was bred at heart, head down, immigrant cook. He breaks, I'm full. Comfort food is the child made of porcelain, born unchipped, washed for cradling, eggs, potatoes, toast. And we're gonna forego the other one and do this one, which is the other side of it, sort of. Legacy. It's when I'm putting on makeup, I see her fingertips applying powder on creases and brows, not me at the mirror. I'm a 3-year-old, frilly socks, 5:30 a.m., awake for the opening shift. Then light in the pockets as I tie apron strings behind me. I sit at Theo's diner on my own time, my own coffee stains on white Oxford, eggs, potatoes, toast, ordered in verbal shorthand, 2OEHB, crisp, dub, shake, 10 hours of restaurant shift from my hair. I shoot pool left-handed because she taught me in her form. I take whiskey in sizable drinks, wince, tilt my head like she did the first time she caught me with a glass in my hand. Going home now would be resignation. She puts near military creases in my uniform for tomorrow. I argue but take a bath anyway. I like brushing my teeth now. She diminishes, nestled on top of laundry instead of a mattress. Diminishes, but not before she counts the change in her pocket, stacks it beside me, loose metal, rounded dollars on reserve, small pleasures larger in certain hands.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, man.
I've got one poem to read. One poem to read.
Just one.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's kind of longer. Not super long, though. And this one's set at the Crown Market, or begins at the Crown Market in Hamtramck. Does anybody know the Crown Market? All right. Now the Imperial Market.
Oh.
So from Crown to Imperial. But it's still just as sweet. Yeah, and these are, it's a narrative poem. The two characters in it are one, the beloved hero of my, all my poems, goes by the name Dirtbag, and his girl Cats. It's called Last Dollar. At the Crown, where the bags tell how it is, customer is king. That's with a K, customer. Our cart sings a dying possum song and draws a black line across the floor to the shelves where everything we need is expired but edible. Krispy Kremes, frozen taquitos, a 30-pack of skunk beer. It's me and Cass, wobbly and purple-lipped with Yeji, a blackberry brandy, flavor of cough syrup. Every shot is another never again. Nostrovia. We find ourselves half drunk, edging towards starved between hot dog and cheese dog, the wonder of Wonder Bread. As our loaded cart stutter thumps to the register, I discover my funds are insufficient, and now customer is something else, broke. Cass says, "We're so lucky for my tits." She's a stripper, a working girl. Not for the span of a single breath do I forget or neglect or underappreciate them, 2 of the 7 wonders of the world, golden eggs that hatch golden eggs, because yes, they call for wallets to open and turn her underthings to leafy tutus of dead presidents. As she counts out her singles, I close my wallet, pancake flat, a dried up pleather thing, cracked and about to split in 2. Inadequate, don't say loser, but each bill in her hand came from another man's hand that ran over her skin, stuffed, thrown, or waved before her face. That stinks up my brain, and is maybe why I load the car wrong, forgetting or unseeing, I don't know. She drives fast those 7 city blocks to my alley with its obstacle course of garbage cans, broken glass, grabbing for the last bit of sun, the streetlight now flickering with an arc and buzz. What comes over me, same as those men, is the need to touch her with my last dollar. Folded long ways, I run it up her skirt. She notifies me that I'm asking for trouble, then stops the car and orders me out, shoves me against the garage. Alone out there, we grapple, we grope, then kiss long. She unzips and fits herself around me, and I willfully devolve, slosh back and forth to the beginning of time as a holler builds in us, and she says, "It's okay," which I hear as, "It is okay," and take as my cue to let everything go and become everything, like the alley, the glass, the dirt, our shoes, the dented garage, the tired battery in her car, the neighbors hopefully not looking, her legs, her hands and soft belly, the flag that is her underwear flying from one knee. And because she says it's okay, I take her word as truth, suck deep into the shabby tent of my lungs and exhale in one slow, eye-rolling release. Everything feels so great until she says, "No, stupid, you're not supposed to come in me." Somehow I got that wrong. She shakes her head, fixes her underwear, then goes for the groceries and says, "Where's the beer?" Last I remember, it was riding in the bottom of our cart. She glares, then jumps in the car, slams it in reverse, smashing past the garbage cans, one then another. They flip, they tumble, throw trash in the air like to celebrate all it means to hold something that no one else wants or cares about, there in the alley, in the last, deepest color of the day.
You gotta talk to these people.
Hey, thank you guys. I'm really I'm happy to be here. And in this really old place that Mr. John Freeman always makes new. Can we give it up for John? You guys? I was on the internet, which usually sucks. But then I saw Steve's poster for this, and I saw both JL and Christina on the poster, and I was like, I gotta go out for that. So, thank you guys for throwing down. I'm excited to hear Christina and JL. I love the prayers like soot line, especially after all the ways this guy was last week. I have a short story. I don't got a sports blog this time. This is a short story. It's called The Fourth Person. Her goal in life was to write a short story in the fourth person. This was something she had to do without me. I was told to leave our 2-bedroom apartment. The day I moved out, it was raining. I didn't tell my friends to help me, and so no one helped me when I asked her, oh man, what the fuck? I didn't tell my friends to help me, and so no one helped me when I asked her to leave, and she went to the coffee shop to write her short story in the fourth person. The rain crawled around the living room window. I gave most of my clothes to the Salvation Army. My one bag I double wrapped in a plastic garbage bag so my clothes wouldn't get wet. I had 12 boxes of books, but I gave 5 of them to Salvation Army. The 7 boxes that were left, I wrapped those in garbage bags too. I had a crate of records. I wrapped that in plastic too. I had bought the couch before she moved in, so I sold it to her for $150. When we first met, we walked along the street by the ginkgo trees. She ate an ice cream cone, and every few bites I asked, could I have a bite? The way she looked in my eyes, it was like she cared about the things in my head, which was only a feeling I felt once every 3 women. She said, you have crazy eyes. I said, what do crazy eyes look like? She said, something crazy is happening in your head, and the way your eyes move, and the way you get quiet. I said, I'm sorry I have crazy eyes. She said, don't be sorry. I like them. Over the years, her story in the fourth person gained strength in pages. When we first met, it was just an idea. She said, I want to make something that has never been made before. We sat on the rooftop of the climbing co-op. I smoked a cigarette and she waved the smoke from her face. When a bird flew into the window across the street, she said, oh God. She covered her mouth with her hand. The bird lay on the ground, but got up and flew away. She said, oh good. I put my cigarette out on a shingle. She said, where was I? I said, you were in the middle of being beautiful. She said, my story in the fourth person. The first 3 don't communicate the way I experience reality. They've always felt, she paused and thought, limiting. In year 3 of our relationship, she moved away for a year to an island in the Caribbean where her family was from. She had never known her family. She said she felt like an essential part of who she was always missing. I supported this. When we broke up the first time, it was because who wants to date someone living so far away? We got back together because I loved the way she smelled. I always feel like something was always missing in me. I am white. I am a manic, depressive person. I am convinced I am living the wrong way. This is probably a story about that. 3 weeks into her stay on the island, she called me on WhatsApp and said, it's begun. I said, what's begun? She said, the fourth person. I said, how many pages do you have? She said, I've got 32. I said, that's a lot. That's a healthy story. She said, it's my story, and I'm going to write it until it's done. While she was away, I lived with my sister. I didn't have bookshelves. I stacked my books along the wall, and I called them Book Mountain. My books were completely inaccessible in this format. My sister had a dog named Frankie who yawned, and when he yawned, his mouth spread wide and jolted sideways and shut. I began to yawn just like my sister's dog, like I was maybe a mime. Year 3 turned into year 4, and the fourth person was blooming. I visited her on the island. We ate fried pork skin mixed into fried plantains. An iguana crawled out from under a rock next to the ocean, and I put my fork down and took a picture on my phone. She chewed and she swallowed, and I chewed, and she said, "Stop chewing with your mouth full." I stopped. She said, "The story. It's like, finally, I'm making something that is alchemical and interdimensional." Actually, she said, "Pretend I didn't say that. Those words don't fit. Words can't define what's happening right now on page 371. It's just like it's happening, it's real. No, I'm not even sure it's that either. It's something else. It's what I've always needed to make. It's it." This is what she said. The wind crept into my ear. I could taste lime on my gums. Scooters and convertibles raced by the restaurant blasting dembo music. I put my fork down. I cried. I said, "I'm so happy to hear that. That's all I've ever wanted for you." She said, "Thank you. It means a lot that you support me. You're sweet. You could totally be." And she paused. So I said, "Be what?" She said, "Not like this. You could be angry." She said, "You could be looking out for yourself." She moved back in with me, but it didn't work out, and her story grew, and I learned less and less about the fourth person. I taught creative writing to children in schools. I taught what I knew, which wasn't much. The way I do it, the basics go a long way, and the students, they take care of the rest.
Announcement, I believe. So.
I just got off work, so I'm sorry that I'm dressed like this.
Where do you work?
It's beautiful.
I
Thank you, John.
Thank you. I'm one of the founders of the Longfellow Review, for those who don't know me. And we just opened submissions for our fall edition. We're accepting poetry, art, short fiction, and short nonfiction. So
Online or print?
we physically print. Yeah, I actually have some of the summer edition in my car, if anyone is interested in buying one.
John Freeman's in it.
A lot of people here are in it. Raise your hand if you're in it, because I'm not going to name everyone off. Everyone look around.
You don't remember us?
I remember everyone. It's just a very long list. So, that being said, I'm going to leave the poster on that back table, so when everyone's done and we're closing down for the night, you can take a photo or write the information down. So, the first poem I'm going to read is a haiku, and I've been really into the concept of like a title for a haiku that's longer than the actual poem.
Yes.
So, this one is called, "In the future, we will eat bugs, which wouldn't be a big deal if I didn't care for bugs so much." I have to find it on my phone. When I start to think of red imitation crab, I wonder what's next. I grew up in Hawaii, and this poem is about that. It's called Eternity. Barefoot on black sand and a kuli, we caught seahorses in your yellow bucket. Only 6 years old, in yarn-like shade of a banyan, we have outlived them. Seahorses, in their best efforts, don't see past 5 in the oil-stained locks of Pearl City. Not even the ones we still talk of 20 years later. Thank you.
Our second feature is Christina Kallery, who's an amazing poet. She's from all over, but she spent a good chunk of time downriver, which is a place near and dear to my heart. And I know Jennifer Blackledge too writes really poignantly about downriver. So anyway, I'm excited to hear Christina read. I've been hoping to get her out for this for a while, so I'm glad it worked out tonight. Christina Kallery.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that damn mic stand's been playing some
Wait,
tricks
is
tonight.
it, yeah, it's tricky, it's tricky. I think it's,
Just gotta crank it to the right couple of times. And that's it. And then, sorry,
it's okay.
should work now. Cool.
Alright, so I have to take my glasses off to read, but I want to see you guys first. So I just want to say thank you to everybody for coming out. Thank you to the Gaelic League. Thank you so much to John for inviting me. Thank you to JL. Wonderful. I can't wait to read your book. And thank you to all the other poets that read it. So it was such an inspiring night. I'm glad to be here. Okay, so I'm going to start out with a poem, and I have to apologize to John. I think you've probably heard this one way too many times, but hoping, it'll be okay for the rest of it. But I'm going to read one poem from my book, and then I'm going to read some newer ones. So this one I always kind of think of as a found poem because I came across a headline online one day, and this is an old one, it goes way back, but it was on Reuters. And as soon as I saw it, I'm like, I have to write this poem before somebody else gets to it and does it. It was just like an evident poem, had to come into the world. So the headline was, Swan Falls in Love with Swan-Shaped Boat. And to me, there was something very relatable about that, and very human. And so I'll just read you, it comes, Dateline Berlin, a swan has fallen in love with a plastic swan-shaped paddle boat in a pond in the German town of Munster, and has spent the past 3 weeks flirting with a vessel 5 times its size, a sailing instructor said Friday. He's not half nuts, this German swan, to love something so near the actual, you might squint from shore, squishing sand beneath your toes to see its broad white belly part the shining green, neck angled always toward the clouds, deflecting every antic of its frenzied mini-suitor. This happens, right? Who among us with a single red corpuscle hasn't dug in and waded the whole doomed thing to its conclusion, wanting some chill beauty to paddle its slow turn toward us on the man-made lake? In your case, not a Munster tourist boat, let's hope, but more like the narcissist with lovely eyes and a voice to unzip things to, or the one that cut the right profile, but sank like a Petoskey stone. But still, in spite of tear stains, sucker punches, fists to the glass jaw, the dumb heart beats, then tries again. See, there he goes, beak agog and hissing at the rival birds, wings spread to seem more menacing, black webbed feet paddling frantic through the algae. Then night sets, and a silver moon beams down on bird and boat, afloat alone, and in the pale light looking for all the world like the shape of love. So there were a couple of really moving mother poems tonight, and yesterday is the anniversary of my mother's passing, and this is a new poem though. That just came out that I had written, and it was a memory that stuck with me. And the funny thing about grief is you think you're going to remember moments that are the most epic, but sometimes it's the very small things that stick with you. So this is called The Last Time. The last time my mother left home for the hospital, I helped her pack her small bag, the old brown Bible, with its margin scrawls and bindings gradual unleafing, like a maple in a Michigan November. A brush gnarled with her fine, pale hair, a cardigan to keep the cold at bay. I didn't cry until I saw her shoes, the worn and resoled pair that bore her through a life as hard as it was true. Why are you crying? She asked, but we both knew this was a road she'd take alone to a place I couldn't go. All right, so John had mentioned downriver poems. So I went to high school downriver and lived there for a few years. And this one is called, and my mother makes an appearance in this one also, it's called Parking with the Boys. Don't park, my mother'd call as I headed out to climb in some boy's sputtering Ford Escort or mom's minivan. But where else could we go after driving the downriver streets all night, past the village green apartments with their sad slabs of shrubbery and drained swimming pool, past rows of single-story ranches with factory dads illuminated by the nightly news. Down Eureka Road, its humming signs for transmission repair, walk-in tattoos, cash for gold and paycheck loans, past the Ponderosa Steakhouse and Hungarian kitchen to the riverfront and back again. Around the third loop of the mixed tape, it would be time to pull into the dark lot between the hardware store and Chi-Chi's restaurant. Excused from the world for a single hour, the streetlights dimmed a soft focus through the window's fog. Decades on, I'll make the odd drive back, past the gutted shopping mall, picture the ghost of its Montgomery ward in some parallel dimension, hawking flammable nightgowns and floral sofa sets, where flocks of teens still converge in the food court and grope in corridors. And on certain nights, I'll maybe park alone on the overpass, overlooking the towers of what used to be U.S. Steel, and watch the long, bright flame of its flare stack kiss the sky, the only light here that never goes out. Okay, so this next one, I'm definitely dating myself here. I don't know, anybody here remember watching the Incredible Hulk TV show? Back in the day? Okay, so it had a very sad theme song that played at the end, and it was always the same scenario, where, you know, after he turns into Hulk and does his thing and everything, then, you know, of course he doesn't fit in anywhere, and he's got to, like, leave town. Anyway, it broke my heart as a kid. So this poem is called Poem for the Closing Scene of Every Incredible Hulk Episode. Poor David Banner always ended up the same after someone made him angry, turned him avocado green, pats popping through his last clean button down, but at least lucking out that his pants stayed on. After tossing drug lords through a glass gazebo, upending a sedan or two, occupants suspended while the wheels still spin. After hurtling a jukebox into the wall of booze, bartender ducking just in time, or lobbing leisure-suited playboys into the swimming pool, sending them slow-mo shrieking from the hotel balcony. Main Street now in ruins, bad guys cuffed and packed into the backs of Dodge patrol cars, PG cussing over minor injuries. Those wan piano notes would sound, final credits toll his time again to exit town, condemned to walk the highway in a crisp new shirt, thumb outstretched as happy families whoosh past in their wood paneling. D minor sob crescendoing as a semi breaks to let him climb aboard. Even then, watching from my grandma's velvet couch, I knew that knot of sorrow in my chest was for my dad, who looked like David Banner, but less tall and more Hungarian, who'd loaded up a white VW bus and headed off into some desert sun, sending gifts of fossils, petrified wood, 3 rattles from the snakes he'd shot, leaving me back here to clean things up. And then a little bit of a downer, like the show. Okay, so this next one is a sonnet, and John read a sonnet, and I really love the Iggy Pop sonnet. This one is kind of like a reimagining of John Donne, you know, kind of that petty, scorned lover type of poem. And it's basically, it's called How I Would Haunt You.
Nice.
Okay. Not only in the ways you would expect, with flickering lights, an obscure Smith's song to halt your cart from a Costco intercom, I'd haunt you hard, send 3 a.m. texts. I'd pick the oddest times to show my face, the DMV, just as your number's called, the last sogged Cheerios circling your bowl, a billboard on the M10 overpass. And forget the nightgown, long and white. I'd go sexy into that good night, slut it up just so you'd know exactly what it is you're missing in the afterlife. And when you're drowning in some fevered dream, I'd wake you with a kiss that fucking might have been. Maybe one more. We got time for one more.
Yeah.
So I think Okay, I'm gonna. It's a new one, and I feel a little nervous reading this one, but it's forthcoming and Gargoyle, and I have to say, poets submit to Gargoyle. Their last issue is coming out in October, and it's supposed to be like you know, a big one. So, anyway. All right, it's called Crossing Mackinac Bridge, and basically this is another example of a story in the news that caught my eye, and it was an opossum that they caught crossing the Mackinac Bridge, like in the middle of the bridge. So here's just like a little blurb that starts it off. An opossum wandered out onto the bridge last evening and was spotted by a passing motorist, bridge authority staff posted on social media. Bead-eyed friend, you're braver than I, who from childhood viewed it through a scrim of awe and dread. Terrifying, not just how it rose up Godzilla style from the horizon, but its roaring rumble strips beneath our Ford Torino's tires. More harrowing, the tales of workmen fallen stories down into the wet cement and never saved, entombed 200 feet above the waves. No surprise that decades on I'd spring the $20 to have a guy named Gary drive my Prius to the other side. Then the time I'd made off for the North Cascades and a father barely known, but halted at the final pass where one lane gangplanked peak to peak. Every neuron shriek turned back, and yet I hit the gas, which only makes your waddled odyssey more wondrous. Round gray rump and pink rat's tail, naked toes splayed over concrete and cold steel. To the west, a whoosh of jacked up trucks and SUVs that leave your brethren pancaked over country roads. To the east, a deep blue drop into infinities, pitch and heave. We could take a stab at what compelled you here. Some marsupial lover who squashed your heart and hightailed it out of town. The aroma beckoning from a trash compactor like a cartoon hand. Or something ancient in your blood, calling you away from smokestacks, interstates, and superstores into the piney arms of Hiawatha Forest, where the highway curves to meet Lake Huron, then winds away to someplace vaster, colder, wild, unknown. Thank you.